Hello everyone, welcome to our channel The Planner's Way. Myself Rohit. Today I'm going to speak on the project baseline, what the baseline is, why it matters in terms of planning, what's the different type of baselines that the project managers use in their day-to-day life, and at the end we'll see what's the benefit of having a baseline and try to understand with a real example. Let's dive in. Is a project baseline, or baseline simply we can say. A baseline is the approved version of the project plan which is agreed by all the parties, serving as the reference point for that of the measure performance and the progress throughout the project lifecycle. It is the agreed version of the plan which is agreed by all of the parties to go through. It's a roadmap how we are going to execute the project from the commencement to from the start to that of the end. Then why it matters, why everyone is so much conscious on the baseline, why we need to make a baseline at the start of the project. The benefit of having a baseline is it enables the project performance and progress tracking. That means in any way we are midway or in between or after the 2 month commencing the project, we can track where we are. We can identify the variance using the variance analysis techniques, just plan and the actual things. We can compare it up whether we are on track or behind or ahead of the schedule. We can compare it with that of the baseline. It support in the change management and decision making as well. With if there is any change that need to be implemented on the project, we can compare, we can introduce that on the baseline and see the impact, how much the baseline is impacted or how much the schedule is impacted, whether to undertake the change or not. It will make efficient decision making for the higher stakeholders. And once the baseline is set, it is agreed by all the parties what we need to do, so everyone's project expectation are fulfilled after maintaining the baseline. What's the different type of baseline? Basically in a project we use the schedule baseline most of the time. The schedule baseline is a prime timeline of project deliverables where we are going to achieve these deliverables. We have one clear roadmap which we call the schedule baseline. For the cost things, it's the approved budget, which is the overall cost of the project. It is the schedule baseline and cost baseline is incurred in either in the one schedule. It is called the cost loaded schedule, or the cost is independently monitored outside and only the timeline is within the schedule. Sometime it depends upon project to project how complex is the project, that defines whether to induce cost and schedule together or separately maintain the cost baseline and that of the schedule baseline. What the scope baseline is, it defines the project boundaries and all the deliverables or the work breakdown structure that we need to achieve that scope of the project. Why it's important? It is important because it ensures there shouldn't be any scope creep in the project while going forward in the future phases. What the resource baseline is version of the cost baselines, and it support all the allocation of the manpower, materials and the equipment that are needed for to complete the project. Let's undertake an example of the construction project. What the baseline is, we try to understand with this example. A contractor set a baseline schedule to build a hospital in 18 months. That's the timeline of the project. And midway through it, there is a material shortage. But we don't know how long it will going to take to get that material back. We try to understand and try to figure out how long it will take for the shortage, whether it's temporary or it will take 1 month, 2 months, we don't know. So firstly, what we need to do is to try to understand the risk of the material shortage, how much, what the activity are that the shortage is impacting upon, and we go back to our project baseline and see what's the critical items that the material shortage is impacting, and is there any way we can be back on track or mitigate that material shortage. If there are any non-critical activities, we will shift the resources from that activity to the critical one first and try to mitigate the impact of that shortage. And what's the benefit will be? The project stays on track with some minor delays rather than having a several delays, and it will save us from the cost and the time aspect. To summarize this video, we have covered the what is a baseline is, why it matters, what's the different types of baselines. We try to cover it with one of the examples is the values are arbitrary, but we try to cover it with how we can efficiently save the cost and time both if we maintain the schedule baseline in place at the first. And what's the key takeaways are a well-defined baseline is a foundation for the effective project control and the success of the project. Our next video in this series will be on critical path method. For more insight, please subscribe to Planner's Way. Thank you. I'll see you on the next video.